Meanwhile, Iran and Russia have announced that they will hold joint military exercises in the Persian Gulf later this year. The drills will reportedly be conducted in the Strait of Hormuz and the northern part of the Indian Ocean. Officials confirm that it is part of a classified agreement to expand cooperation between the two countries. All right, to discuss these developments, we're joined by Kenneth Timmerman. He's the president and CEO of the Foundation for Democracy in Iran, and former Marine Corps intelligence officer, Hal Kempfer, also joining us. Ken, let's start with you, because one was getting a sense that Russia was trying to distance itself from Iran, at least as far as the Syrian conflict is concerned. So why is Moscow doing these drills with Iran and cozying up to the regime in Tehran?
Well, look, this is an old Russian dream. It goes back well over 100 years. They have been seeking to have a place in the warm waters of the Persian Gulf, the Arabian Sea, the Indian Ocean for generations. And Iran is giving that to them today. I think these exercises are very significant should they come off. They follow on the heels of two earlier sets of naval exercises in the Caspian Sea, but this is in the Strait of Hormuz. This is where, something like a quarter of all of the world's oil supplies, 40% of the oil from the Gulf, transits every single day. It is incredibly sensitive, and the Iranians are making such belligerent statements about how they're going to attack the United States, how they're going to attack the British and our allies, that this is serious business.
Hal, the U.S. and the U.K. now have these joint naval patrols in the Persian Gulf. They're going to be sailing in close proximity to Iranian and Russian vessels conducting these drills. Does this really just set the scene for some kind of serious escalation, perhaps even an inadvertent escalation, keeping in mind that there have already been incidents of Iranian vessels coming too close to U.S. vessels? So it seems that all of these factors together could lead to a pretty significant confrontation.
Michelle, anytime you have that many ships in close proximity, you have the chance of a confrontation, you have the chance of an incident. The Iranian swarm tactics, where they surround ships, it kind of lends itself to ships interposing between ships, if you will, which then there's a lot of things that can happen on the water, and frankly, that could escalate rather quickly in an uncontrolled manner. So yes, there is danger. On the other hand, though, having the Iranians and the Russians conducting maneuvers will actually be of intelligence use to us. We're going to get a chance to see how they work together. The Iranians are going to have to share a lot of very sensitive information with the Russians in order to conduct these exercises and vice versa. So they're going to be watching us, but frankly, we're going to be watching and listening to them pretty closely as well.
Ken, what does this mean, though, for the relationship between Moscow and Tehran? Because up until now, as I mentioned, there has been some kind of reluctance for Russia to go all in with Iran. They didn't sell Iran the S-400 missile defense systems. Do you anticipate this now bringing on a new era of relationships and cooperation between Iran and Russia?
Well, look, I think the Russians have been blowing hot and cold with the Iranians. They've been doing this for quite some time. And so, no, I don't think it's a new era. I think now they're just blowing warmer. And so you're going to see this closer relationship between Iran and Russia because they believe it is to their benefit. And they believe having Russia on their side will deter the United States. Again, remember all of these belligerent statements from the IRGC. They're going to sink warships. They're going to sink American ships. They're going to sink British oil tankers. And guess what? Our Navy is beginning to take some of those threats very seriously because of new weaponry in the hands of the Iranian Navy, of the IRGC. And it's not just the swarming boats, it's torpedoes on their kilo-class submarines that do have the capability of sinking major warships. And that's as Hal said, the possibility of inching into war through a mistake or through an error is quite big.
It is quite big indeed. And again, we've got the U.S. wanting to keep a maximum pressure on Iran because that technique seems to be working so far, and it wants to get Iran back to the negotiating table. And you get the sense that Tehran is trying to distract from that and cause some kind of bigger confrontation. On the other hand, with the UK joining the U.S. with these naval patrols, it may signal a potential shift in diplomatic strategy, keeping in mind we've got the new British Prime Minister, Boris Johnson, in power now. All right, a lot more to discuss. We'll save it for next time. Ken Timmerman and Hal Kempfer, appreciate it.